By the late 14th century, the Ottoman Empire had firmly established itself as a growing power in both Anatolia and the Balkans. Under the leadership of Sultan Murad I, R. 1362–1389, the Ottomans began to shift their focus from defending their newly acquired territories to expanding deeper into southeastern Europe. Murad I, who inherited a well-established empire from his father Orhan I, was a skilled military commander and a visionary ruler. His reign marked the Ottoman Empire's golden age of military conquests in Europe, and one of the most defining events of his rule was the Battle of Kosovo in 1389. Before we explore the monumental battle, it's essential to understand the geopolitical landscape of the time. The Serbian Kingdom, led by Prince Lazar Rebeljanovich, was one of the most powerful and influential states in the Balkans. The Serbs had long been a formidable opponent of the Ottomans, especially as the empire expanded westward. As the Ottomans advanced into Europe, the Serbs saw the Ottomans as a direct threat to their sovereignty and sought to protect their lands from Ottoman expansion. Murad I's military campaign in the Balkans during the 1360s and 1370s was not only aimed at securing Ottoman territorial interests, but also at establishing control over the regions surrounding the Byzantine Empire and extending his reach to the Adriatic Sea. By 1371, the Ottomans had already secured key territories in the Balkans, such as Thrace and parts of Macedonia, but their efforts were met with strong resistance from local Christian rulers, including the Serbs. Despite facing mounting opposition, Murad's forces managed to defeat the Serbs in a series of clashes, notably the Battle of Maritsa in 1371, which was a significant victory for the Ottomans. The Battle of Maritsa was a crucial turning point in Ottoman-Slavic relations. The battle marked the first major encounter between the Ottomans and the Serbs in a series of ongoing skirmishes and larger confrontations. Murad I's forces decisively defeated the Serbian army, and the victory gave the Ottomans access to much of the Balkan peninsula, further solidifying their territorial presence. The battle also set the stage for future conflicts, including the Battle of Kosovo in 1389. After the victory at Maritsa, Murad I and his generals turned their focus toward securing Ottoman dominance over the Serbian Kingdom, which still retained considerable influence in the region. Despite Serbia's defeat, it remained a significant regional power and posed a threat to Ottoman control. In response, Prince Lazar Rebeljanovich of Serbia began organizing a coalition of Balkan states to resist Ottoman expansion. This included alliances with Bosnian, Hungarian, and other Christian forces who feared Ottoman control over the region. The Ottomans, under Murad I, understood that the Serbian resistance needed to be crushed decisively in order to secure the Ottomans' control over the Balkans. The situation became increasingly tense, and both sides began preparing for a confrontation. The Battle of Kosovo, which was to be the culmination of these growing tensions, would decide the fate of the Balkans for centuries to come. The formation of the forces and the Battle of Kosovo. The Battle of Kosovo took place on June 28, 1389, near the Kosovo Polje, Field of Blackbirds, which is located in present-day Kosovo. The battlefield was chosen because it lay at the crossroads of major routes into Serbia, Bosnia, and the rest of the Ottoman Empire. The battle pitted the Ottoman forces under Sultan Murad I against the Serbian army, led by Prince Lazar. Both sides were aware of the significance of the battle, and both knew that the outcome would determine not only the fate of their empires, but also the future of the entire Balkan region. The Ottoman forces, estimated to be around 27,000–30,000 strong, were a well-disciplined and battle-hardened army, including the elite Janissaries, who had become one of the most feared military units in the world. Murad I's forces also included Turkoman tribes, irregular cavalry, and light infantry, giving the Ottomans flexibility and speed on the battlefield. The Janissaries, in particular, played a key role in Ottoman success, as their training, discipline, and tactics had already proven effective in previous engagements across Europe. On the other side, Prince Lazar's army was composed of Serbian forces, along with Hungarian, Bosnian, and Albanian reinforcements. The Serbian army was similarly large, but their forces were less unified and lacked the organization and professional training that the Ottomans possessed. Nonetheless, the Serbs had elite heavy cavalry, archers, and experienced soldiers, making them a formidable adversary. The Battle of Kosovo was fierce, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The battle itself was characterized by intense fighting, with the Ottomans and Serbs engaging in hand-to-hand combat, utilizing cavalry charges and archery. The Ottomans used their military tactics effectively, launching coordinated attacks and employing superior maneuvering strategies. However, despite the Ottomans' military proficiency, the outcome of the battle remained uncertain for much of the day. In the end, the battle was inconclusive, and neither side achieved a decisive victory. However, there were key consequences that would shape the future of both the Ottoman and Serbian states. Sultan Murad I was assassinated during the battle by a Serbian assassin, a significant loss for the Ottomans, but Murad's son, Bayezid I, quickly assumed leadership and continued the Ottoman advance in the Balkans. On the Serbian side, Prince Lazar was also killed, and his death left Serbia without a strong leader to resist Ottoman control. Kosovo Polje became a symbolic moment in Balkan history, with the Ottomans emerging as the ultimate political victors despite the ambiguous military outcome. The Ottomans maintained control over the territory of Kosovo, and despite the symbolic defeat of both Murad and Lazar, the Ottomans continued their relentless expansion in the region. Serbia, now weakened by the loss of its ruler and its inability to push back Ottoman forces, would eventually fall under Ottoman control. The Battle of Kosovo did not end the conflict, but it marked a clear shift in the balance of power in the Balkans. The Battle of Kosovo in 1389, though marked by heavy casualties on both sides and the tragic loss of Sultan Murad I and Prince Lazar, had profound consequences for the Ottoman Empire and the Balkan region. While the battle itself may have been inconclusive in terms of direct military victory, the outcomes of the battle and its aftermath significantly impacted the trajectory of both Ottoman and Serbian history. The events that followed shaped the future of the Ottoman Empire and solidified its dominance in the Balkans, while contributing to the eventual decline of the Serbian Kingdom. One of the most notable outcomes of the Battle of Kosovo was the death of Sultan Murad I. He was assassinated during the battle by a Serbian assassin, which threw the Ottomans into turmoil for a short time. However, the leadership vacuum was filled swiftly by his son, Bayezid I, also known as Bayezid the Thunderbolt, who would go on to lead the Ottomans through a period of rapid expansion. Bayezid I's leadership ensured the continuity of the Ottoman Empire's military and political power, despite the initial shock of his father's death. Murad's death did not diminish the Ottomans' determination to press forward in their conquests. In fact, Bayezid I adopted a policy of aggressive expansion, continuing the momentum that his father had initiated. Despite the temporary setback, the Ottomans managed to retain control over their territories in the Balkans, and the victory was ultimately in their favor due to the Serbian defeat and the collapse of their political structure. Bayezid was able to quickly consolidate power and continue the Ottoman military campaigns into Bulgaria, Romania, and beyond, ensuring that the Ottomans would retain their grip on the Balkans for centuries. On the Serbian side, the consequences of the Battle of Kosovo were more severe. The death of Prince Lazar was a devastating blow for the Serbian state. Lazar was not just a military leader, he was the spiritual and political symbol of the Serbian resistance against the Ottomans. His death, combined with the chaotic aftermath of the battle, left the Serbian kingdom in disarray. The lack of strong central leadership, coupled with the failure to establish a unified resistance against the Ottomans, meant that the Serbs were unable to mount an effective counterattack against the Ottoman Empire. After the battle, the Ottoman Empire began to absorb Serbia's territories into its expanding dominion. Serbia's power and influence continued to decline, and its lands were gradually taken over by the Ottomans. The Serbian nobility, already divided, failed to unify against the Ottomans, and the region was slowly integrated into the Ottoman imperial system. Over the next several decades, the Ottomans gradually eliminated any remaining resistance from Serbian forces, eventually making the entire region part of the Ottoman Empire. The Battle of Kosovo also had far-reaching consequences for the Balkan states. After the death of Prince Lazar and the weakening of the Serbian state, the Ottomans turned their attention to other regions of the Balkans. The Bosnian Kingdom, the Kingdom of Hungary, and even Albania all faced increased pressure from Ottoman forces. The Ottomans moved swiftly to take control of Serbia, Bosnia, and Albania, utilizing their military supremacy, superior tactics, and well-trained forces like the Janissaries. Their aggressive campaigns led to a slow but steady expansion across the Balkans, which would continue for the next several centuries. However, the battle also highlighted the resilience of local resistance movements. Though the Serbs were defeated at Kosovo, the battle became a symbol of national identity and resistance for generations to come. The Serbian Orthodox Church and many nationalist movements in the Balkans would later adopt the Battle of Kosovo as a symbol of their struggle against the Ottomans. The myth of the battle would grow over time, and it became a symbol of heroic resistance and martyrdom in Serbian folklore. The image of Prince Lazar and his martyrdom at the hands of the Ottomans would continue to inspire Serbian resistance in the centuries that followed. For the Ottomans, the conquest of Kosovo and the victory over the Serbs did not end their challenges. While the Ottomans maintained control over their newly acquired territories, they faced continued resistance from Hungarian, Polish, and Croatian forces, as well as local insurgencies in the Balkans. The Ottoman Empire would need to continue consolidating its hold over the region and fortify its territorial acquisitions. The Battle of Kosovo also had lasting effects on the broader Ottoman military tradition. The Ottomans, who had already established themselves as a powerful military force, learned valuable lessons from their confrontations with the Serbs. The Ottomans refined their tactics, especially in siege warfare, cavalry charges, and the use of their elite troops, the Janissaries, to further strengthen their military capabilities. This expertise would serve them well in future conflicts as they sought to expand their empire further into Europe and North Africa. The Battle of Kosovo was not just a battle between two armies, it was a conflict that symbolized the struggle between the Ottoman Empire and Christian Europe. It was an early example of the broader religious, political, and military conflict that would define much of the Ottoman Empire's later history. Over the course of the next century, the Ottomans would continue to expand into Europe, defeating various Christian states and incorporating them into their empire. The eventual capture of Constantinople in 1453, however, would mark the final triumph of Ottoman rule over the Byzantine Empire, solidifying their control over much of southeastern Europe. In the centuries following the battle, the Ottoman legacy in the Balkans would endure, but so too would the memory of the Serbian resistance. The Battle of Kosovo remained a powerful symbol of courage and defiance against the Ottoman Empire. For the Ottomans, Kosovo was a victory, but for the Serbs and many others in the Balkans, it represented a heroic stand against the tide of Ottoman expansion.